Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Welcome and thank you for stopping by. It's great that you are here. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on Bryan Adams. And of course, you can't talk about Bryan Adams without talking about the song Summer of '69. And certainly that song and A Brand New Day gave us the opportunity to continue, I think, a little bit of a series on the fact that sometimes we need to hear get up, take life by the scruff of the neck and give it a bit of a shake. So I trust you enjoyed that one. Well, we go from that Bryan to another Bryan. And now, those of you who are astute amongst you, you'd realise by now surely that I am doing my artists in alphabetical order. And so, I don't pick and choose this stuff unless there's a really, really good reason to do so. I just go on to the next one in my playlist. So we're looking at a guy today that was born in 1953 in the US, and he is a contemporary Christian music legend today. Now, I've talked about Christian music before. I've talked about the fact that it is a genre that goes into the inner workings of who we are as human beings more than any other genre. And these songs in particular today are going to do that. So please stay with me because I'm not going to ram anything down your throats. It's all very safe and very much having these guys in mind as we share, because it's all about encouragement in our journeys more than anything else. So yeah, a contemporary Christian music legend. He came to prominence, I suppose, through the band The Sweet Comfort Band. Very, very tight, very strong harmonies, fantastic songwriting, just incredibly good musicians. And between 1977 and 1984, the Sweet Comfort Band released 6 albums. And then back in 2013, they came back and they did another album. So that was pretty cool too. And I must admit, I heard that album. I wasn't aware that was even an album. And it's pretty good for, quite a long time after 1984. In his solo, he's released 18 albums between 1985 and 2019. And there is another group, the Neho Soul Band, that between 2004 and 2009, he's released 3 albums. So what's that? 7, 18, 25, 28 albums in his career. That's a pretty good effort. In 1996, he won a Grammy Award, so that's pretty cool as well. And he's also a 4-time Dove Award winner, which again is awards that celebrate the Christian music genre. So a 4-time Dove winner as well. So yeah, a guy that's been around for a while, and he's got an incredible voice, this guy. He kind of has this crooning voice, a lot of quality, a lot of range. And as I said, as a songwriter himself, he is a bit of an all-rounder, Bryan Duncan, and certainly is worth a look today. And when I talk about the inner workings of us as humans, I think there's 2 songs in particular today that we need to talk about with Bryan Duncan. I think just briefly look at the first one, Traces of Heaven. Now, this came off the 1994 album Slow Revival. And this song is all about, when stuff goes wrong and stuff doesn't seem right and we're wondering what on earth has just gone on. What this song is encouraging us to do is to try and look at what actually happened, look at our contribution to what happened as well. We shouldn't ignore the fact that it was all the other person's fault. And there's certainly stuff that we have done that has contributed to the, I suppose, the mess sometimes we find ourselves in. And I think Bryan certainly has had his little share of this as well. And so Traces of Heaven very much looks at the seeking of our souls and the lessons we need to learn and the hope that can come out of the other side of going to such effort and such energy to ask ourselves these questions. I think sometimes we need to, we need to ask other people, what is it about me? Is there something about me that I'm missing? Is there something that I need to change? Because we may not always know what those things are, but other people might. And if you are asked that question by someone, be kind, guys. Don't say, well, of course, don't you realize what it is? No, 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 no. We be kind in what we say, and we want to build the person up, not rip them down. That's what the song Traces of Heaven certainly encourages us to do today. But the song I particularly wanted to focus on is the song Love Takes Time. And a couple of the other lines, please be kind, ties that bind, came off the Mercy album of 1992. Love takes time. Just let that sink in for a moment, because, if you're with someone and you're getting on really, really well, and at one point you might say, hey, I love you. You mean a lot to me, and you've actually got into my very, very heart. I love you. When those words are said for the first time, it's a beautiful thing to be able to say to someone. And it's also a lovely thing to be able to hear said to you. But do you think love is always like that? Do you think that love is always this kind of beautiful experience? Well, human beings, the way we are, it's not always the case. Sometimes things get hard between people. We still want to be with them, and we still think they're really great, but there is stuff that's going on that makes things really, really hard. We think, how on earth am I even, how has this even happened? Why has this happened? Only last week it was in absolute ecstasy with this person, and now it's just gone completely the opposite direction. Does love stop at that point? Well, I don't know. I reckon love steps up, if anything. Because in a normal situation, you just walk away from that and think, well, that's kind of it. I'll just move on. But love keeps us there. Love keeps us in places where sometimes we don't want to be, because love is more strong than any other emotion that we feel. Because love isn't a feeling, guys. It's a potent, compelling force that drives us to do things, drives us to say things, drives us to forgive the other person, because it's just what love does. So love takes time. I suppose in amongst the turmoil of life, we have the really, really beautiful times and the not so good times. What actually happens as we're learning all this stuff is we see the two people compromising, changing, adapting, trying to see the other person, the bits that we may not see. We might see them for the first time, those bits, and think, wow, that's new, that's different. And eventually the two people compromise and they come together in a beautiful love takes time situation. A little while ago, I shared in one of the song Time from the Alan Parsons Project. I likened life to a little bit like a river that was flowing through a valley, and then one day another river joined with the river. And you know what happens when rivers join? There's rapids normally. It's almost like the two rivers are fighting each other and competing with each other to actually see who's going to win. It's quite exciting being in rapids though, right? If you're whitewater rafting or you're in a canoe and you're going through the rapids, it's pretty exciting to do that. A little bit dangerous as well, but pretty exciting. And eventually over time, and as I shared in that video, the two rivers joined and became a stronger, bigger river. I think this is a really, really good analogy of love. Certainly at the start of love, it's beautiful and fantastic. And certainly in the first few years, you're trying to work each other out. And there may be shouting and there may be yelling at times. And there may be, oh my goodness, why am I even here? But eventually you learn what it means to compromise. Love takes compromise. It really, really does. In fact, love demands compromise. You cannot stay the way you were before love came. Love requires you to change and to compromise, because love is not just one person, it's two. And so the culture of love enables people to compromise and to change. But as Bryan Duncan talks about in this song, love takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not even going to happen over a week or over a year. It's going to take a little bit of time to get there. But I suppose the thing is that if both parties are committed to each other and wanting the best for each other and wanting the best relationship that they can actually have, well, they'll commit to that. And how awesome to be able to come out of the other side a little bit seeing a strong river, as I've talked about before. So if you are in a situation right now where you think, oh man, this love stuff's really, really hard. Well, yeah, it is. But if you are committed, if we are committed to wanting the best relationship we can have, we're going to put in the effort. We're going to put in the compromises. We're going to put in the changes that need to happen for love to come through to fruition. If it never comes to complete fruition, there's always more love than the situation that we are in at the time. But it does get to a point you think, oh, it's a bit of a relief now. I think this is the encouragement for this song. You know, the words of the chorus go, love takes time, please be kind. Ties that bind. This is the thing that love actually does. It becomes something that establishes a beautiful culture between two people. So I trust that will be an encouragement for you today. If you're right in the middle of it right now, love takes time. Commit yourself to the evolving thing that is love. Well, on to the clips today. We do have to have Love Takes Time. There are two versions of this song. We've got the official clip, and I suppose this clip, I think, really just shows off love quite well. We've got a couple in a boat that's sprung a lake, and so it's really quite a beautiful imagery of what love is like, and sometimes what's needed for love to win out. So I'll encourage you to watch that one in particular, because it kind of goes along with what I've been saying today. And also we need to have a live version of that one as well, because we need to show Bryan Duncan off with the incredible voice that he has. And in this particular clip, we've got some incredible band and backup harmony happening something as well, because you'll notice in the official clip just how rich the harmonies are in the chorus. And so, you know, we've got that live as well. So enjoy Bryan Duncan in his incredible voice that he has. And then we've also got Traces of Heaven that came off the Slow Revival album. This is the official clip. So look at all of those if you'd like, or some of them, or whatever you'd like to do. But yeah, have a look at least at one and see what I mean about Bryan Duncan and his song Love Takes Time. Really, really compelling stuff indeed. And I've also, by the way, included my video from last time, and I do this each time to Bryan Adams. So if you want to have a look at that one, feel free as well. Summer of '69 is such a fantastic song, it really, really is. So I encourage you to look at that one as well. Well, that's it for today. If you've come back for another one, or if you're here for the first time, you're very, very welcome indeed. It is fantastic that you've joined me today. If you've hung around to the end, which obviously you have, because you wouldn't hear me saying this otherwise, thank you for doing that as well, because we do kind of cover some stuff. And this thing of love today is particularly interesting. I was thinking this song provides us with a great opportunity to look at the journey of love in a bit more detail. Good on you for Bryan for coming up with such a fantastic song. Well, that's it for today. Next time we're going to go into classical music. In fact, the Romantic period and the genius that is Richard Wagner. In fact, we might give a couple of weeks to him. And so until then, we'll catch you around.